Hello, in this video we are going to finish our low poly model and name everything and group it so it's nice and kind of finished, and then in the following video we'll probably get into the high poly modeling. So before we move on, we want to make sure that our geometry is nice and clean and even. So look for areas where the geometry is not very even. So like right here, like the spacing on this is denser, so I would probably maybe even move this one and do the slide edge tool and just slide that over, and then this piece, slide edge like that. And then I would look at my profiles and make sure those are still lining up. So we want the low poly to be as close as possible because we're going to use the low poly to make the high poly. So that's good. So this is a little too, it's not enough geometry to retain or to get that shape down. So let's add that. Add insert edge loop. I'm just going to add these in here and then I'll move them. Selecting that whole edge and then moving up. That. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Maybe this one is going a little too high. There we go. There we go. 5. See for that, it's still looking good. Okay, and in general, I like to have a center edge just to. This helps with things if you need to delete the other side. So I'm going to add that. Go here, go to the multiple size or multiple edges and set that to 1. That's centered like that. Okay, that looks good. And just do a double check. I think that looks all fine. We could maybe reduce, we could do something like this. I like that edge there. Then I'm going to slide this down a bit so that's more even. There we go. That's fine. Okay, so I think that's good. So now we need to name things. So I'm just going to go over here and start with this. So this is the low poly, so we'll start with a name. So we go mask underscore, and then this is the low poly, so we'll put LO. And then underscore geo for geometry. And then we'll do the same thing here. This will be, you just can double click the geometry or the thing in the outliner, and you can then rename it. So back underscore low underscore geo. Then this will be I'll say Mohawk base underscore low underscore geo. And whenever you start a new letter or a new word like this, you just capitalize it. So that's called camel case. And I'll go like that and say hinge underscore low underscore geo. And then we'll say this is Mohawk underscore low underscore geo. There we go. And then I'm going to select all my geometry and hit Control G. And that will group everything. And you know it's a group when it has this little icon here. And we can just name this helmet underscore low underscore GRP for group. And then we have everything. So I'm going to select, so this was an old group that got automated or like automatically made when we did something. So we're just going to delete it by hitting the delete key. And now this is nice and clean. We can select all the geometry and we can do some things. We can say modify center pivot, and that will put the pivot in the center. So we can go to each one and go center pivot. There. We hit G to do the last action, G. It looks like it did everything. In case your pivot is, this thing is like off to the side like that. That kind of centers it. And then we can select everything, go modify freeze transformations. So if I scaled this, I can freeze the transformations. So this becomes default size. I don't want that. So I'm going to select everything and then go to modify freeze transformations. And now delete all history. And that is a clean model. So we'll just save up. And that looks good. And in the next video, we'll start the high poly model.